Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's okay. This is my first live of the year, and you're going to have to bear with me because I am sat here with cold and flu tablets and some cough sweets and everything to keep me going. Because I've started the new year in style with a cold. So please bear with me. I do have my Arbonne Fizz sticks on hand, ready to go. But if I cough, please just ignore it. But hi, how is everyone? I hope everyone's all right. You've had an absolutely brilliant Christmas and New Year, and you've done your vision boards, you've done your planning, and you are ready to go for the new year. I wanted to start the new year with a little bit of a guide to doing stalls and doing visuals and all that sort of stuff because we've got a bit of a lull. Anyone in the handmade business industry, anyone in the craft industry, we know that January is a little bit quiet, but it starts to build into February, going into Valentine's, and then pushing through into Easter. So I thought this would be a perfect time if you are not sure of your visuals or if you've not quite got your visuals sorted or anything like that. This is the perfect time to start planning for that and getting all of that prepared. So today we're going to talk about eye-catching signage when it comes to your stalls and your events and getting people to really connect with you. For those of you that are new here, hi. I'm Nikki. I've had a whirlwind of the last 10 years, but I have been a marketing specialist now for nearly 20 years. That hurts to say. I specialise in small businesses because I'm a crafty person. I have actually had small businesses. When I started doing this coaching company in 2019, I'd actually already had a jewellery business. And then with everything that happened with lockdown, I actually stopped coaching for a little bit and went in and I created handmade candles and home fragrances. So I know what it is like to start a handmade business, to grow a handmade business, and how to get it out there. Okay. If you have any questions at all throughout this live, please pop it on the Facebook post. We are also on YouTube tonight. I have actually got my handy iPad here just to see anything that comes up. Because it doesn't come up on my screen. The technology is great, but not perfect. So I will be just checking in on the comments and anything on YouTube and on Facebook. If I can't answer it on the live, I will try and answer it afterwards for you. Okay, but let's make this simple. Let's make it sweet. I'm going to show you a few images as well, and let's get 2024 started. Okay, so eye-catching signage. I've actually got a few notes here as well because there's been a lot of cold and flu tablets. But eye-catching signage, it's something that I get asked about a lot because I am a very visual person. So when it came to doing my craft stalls, I was always asked, how do I get people to come to my stall? How am I attracting people? Because I am a visual person, I love the visual aspect of designing my stall, of putting together my products. So it's something that it's not just a skill that I have, it's something that I'm genuinely passionate about. And I love to help people, to give them an opportunity to get the right design for their stall depending on their products, because every product's different. But the actual theory of how to design your stall and how to design your signage is the same throughout. It just comes down to personal preference as to the way, the colours that you use or the way that you highlight certain products or things like that. But actually the theory behind it is pretty much the same throughout all of visual design, visual merchandising. One of the things that a lot of people miss out on is the different heights. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures actually. There might be a little delay in the stream, so just bear with me. Okay, so I've got a few images here. That literally, these are just images that I've taken from the internet of things I absolutely love. And one of the things I wanted to show you is this image in particular here. Okay, so the the idea of designing your stall around making sure that there's different heights, different styles, different movements, so that people actually are drawn in to your product and they are drawn in to what you have. Now, what this does is it gives a couple of different tiers for them to look at. People will get drawn in to this top bit here. I don't know whether you can see my pointer just here, but this top of the actual top of the pyramid as such, that's where people get drawn in. And then naturally people go down to the right and then down from there to the left. So you sort of create this triangle as they're looking through your products. Now, this can be done at different sides of your stall, and these can be done in with different products. I use this style of crate because my candles are a handmade natural candle. So keeping the woods and the warmth were really, really good for me. I will show you a picture of one of my early displays. This is where my poor daughter, bless her, was dragged out to each and every fair that we went to. But as you can see on my displays there, the natural aspect, the wicker, the woods helped with the fact that it was a natural candle. But the different height, as you can see in the background of the candles, in the forefront of the different candles, those different heights actually draw people in. They will tend to look at the highest point first, and they will come down to the middle point, but they do tend to go right and then down to the left. And that is just the natural progression on how people look through your stalls. So making sure that those visuals are quite eye-catching. These are quite neutral palettes, so they don't work for everybody. They don't work for every design. They don't work for everyone's personal preference. But what that will do is it will draw people to your stall. As you can see in these sort of images, they will be drawn up into that left arch. That particular designer has got a fantastic location with an inside stall. Bear with me, because her arch actually mirrors the window behind her, so that window actually really focuses in on her and her products, which is brilliant. So if you can get through into the place that you're going and have a little nosy round first, brilliant. If you can't, don't worry about it, but make sure that when you're looking at your designs and you're looking at your stalls, that you're looking at those different heights, those different levels. Again, there's another lady here that's got it on point because she's got that drawing with a backdrop where her logo is front and center. It brings the eye in and then people look down. And this is quite natural if you look at supermarkets, if you look at high-end clothing companies, they tend to have their mannequins quite high up. So as you walk in, you look up at the mannequin, then down at the display. And that is just natural as you walk into an area. So replicating that on a stall makes it so much easier for you to gain that attention of the person. Now, with signage, it's not just about where you put your products, it's about how you signpost your products. So going back to this image, you'll see, the signposting, what the product is, it's quite clear what it is. It's quite clear the pricing on the product as well. And at stalls, whether it's an external stall or an internal stall, you are best to show the pricing of the product so that people are drawn in by not only the product, the design, but also the pricing as well. People will make judgments on your product based on pricing. So do not do them too cheap. If you wait a couple of weeks, we're actually doing a pricing live as well. So I'll go through the pricing and how that works psychologically. But people want to see, especially if they've come to a handmade fair, they want to see the pricing. They want to have an idea of what they're coming in with. People will tend to do maybe 2 laps of any fair just to make sure that they're seeing all the products. They'll kind of do a quick run round, have a check, and then go back to the things they like. So if they've got an idea of how much your things cost, they'll know whether to put it into their brain of, oh, I'll go back to them in a moment, I'll go and check on that product in a minute. One of the things that I absolutely love about doing craft fairs is drawing people in to talk to them about my product. It was this one of the scariest things about having to go out there and actually, sell my products, but it was the one that actually, one, got me the most sales, two, got me the most followers. Having that conversation with people and talking to them and having that handmade touch, you don't get that in big companies. You get that in our small businesses where it's person to person. You go through how you make your item, why it's so important to you. If they're sustainable, why you want to do them sustainable. So you go through all of these things to help people connect to your product. And this is the important thing. This is the difference. This is why videos on social media do so well, because people are connecting one-on-one with not just your product, but they're connecting with you as a maker. People buy from people. So if they can see you, they can really get in touch with what your product is, what it means, and what the relevance there is to it in their lives as well. So it gives them a real opportunity to understand the product, especially for instance, with myself, I was doing handmade, eco-friendly, sustainable candles. Now, what does that mean? Yeah, okay, so it's eco-friendly, but what does that mean? So explaining to them, I check where my sources are, I check where my products come in from, my raw materials come in from, what companies they can make sure they've got good policies in place, that they're refilling the land that they're taking from. All this sort of stuff is things that I'd be able to say face to face with these customers, so they understand that I'm not just making candles, but I genuinely care about why I'm making them and what I'm making them for. Explaining that I have a neurodiverse family that are very sensitive to different senses, whether that be scent or whether that be touch or visual. They're very, very sensitive. So my products are based around that. That was something that it's the truth. It's the truth of my product, but it's also a really good sales point. When I'm talking to people and explaining to them that yes, it's a very beautiful candle, but all these things have gone into consideration when making it. So it gives them an understanding of who you are, who your products are, why those products are created, and what they mean to them as people buying them, and what it means to their nearest and dearest as well once they buy it. Now, a couple of the pictures I've shown there, they're very neutral palettes, and it is my preference to have a neutral palette, but I understand that not everyone likes a neutral palette. So I do have some images here to show you about Signage and how it can be done with really bold palettes as well. Let me just get them up. Now, I've got this picture. It's not very clear, but I absolutely love this store. Now, there's a couple of reasons I really love this store. First of all, they haven't just put their logo on the front bottom, and it's natural to want to sort of cover up that front bit, because we put all of our stock under the table. When we're at an outdoor stall, you want people to see it front and center. You want them to see your logo and your design, but actually only keeping your logo down on the tablecloth below stops people from really understanding what your brand is. They don't tend to look down unless they're pointed to that area, unless they're directed to that area. So if you're trying to develop a following on social media, if you're wanting to build your brand, if you're wanting to get yourself out there and grow, just keeping it at the front of the table is actually hiding away your logo. If you think about some of the biggest brands in the world, they are noticeable by their logo. You can walk through a supermarket, you can spot Coca-Cola straight away. You can spot Pepsi straight away. You know what Cadbury's look like straight away. You're not even really looking at them, but you can tell out the corner of your eye, that's a Cadbury's chocolate bar. If you're anything like me, they're what I'm tending to go for. But every logo, every brand, every design has those key features that you spot a mile away. And if you hide those features below eye range, you miss that brand recognition. So putting that up behind them and having the display behind them as they move around, that logo will catch their eye. It will catch the customers in. Oh, what's that? Those mountains at the back, they look nice. What do they do? And then your eyes are drawn out into the corners. So they're drawn out to the edges of the table and then back into the middle. So it's a beautiful diamond display. And what that does is that really draws people into the center where you will be. And when they look up, you go, how can I help? Nice and simple. You're drawing them into basically using your products and your company as a vignette, draw them into you so that you can then talk to them about your product, talk to them about how great it is, and sell that product to them. Another one that I found that was stunning, and by the way, all of these are just on the internet. This was literally a 5-minute Google search that I did. So all you need to do, put on there, stall designs, craftware designs, that sort of thing. And these sort of designs will come up. So it'll give you a really good idea of what is out there. Again, this design I absolutely loved. It's simple, it's black and white, nice and easy. But what they've done is they've brought in that element of natural with those vines wrapped around. Now, they've used that to their advantage as well, which is brilliant. It looks like it's part of the event, it's part of the stall, but they've used it to their advantage because it really makes that plain black and white design pop. Now, yes, bold colours are amazing. And as crafters and as crafty people, we love colour. Give us as much of it as possible. We absolutely adore it. I'm sat here with 15 different colours of highlighters, and that's just for my diary. I love colour. But when it comes to logo design, when it comes to branding design, the most simple designs work the best because they can be used in various different ways. Now, when looking at your stall design, how many of you are actually thinking about your branding? Because we start a business, we look at a logo, we go, yeah, that looks about right. We recreate the logo to our sort of style and what we want. And we stick it on our packaging and we put our products out there. But not many of us think about how that logo is going to look on a banner. We don't think about how that logo is going to look on our packaging. We don't think of how that logo is going to look on letterheads, on stickers. And this is all in when we look at eye-catching signage. We have to think about okay, our logo, how are we going to expand that logo to work on all these different mediums? How are we going to make that logo, those colours, work across the board over everything? And there's various different ways of doing it. Again, this is another simple design, but done in a colourful way. But if you take away that red tablecloth, it's just a plain white logo. And actually, it's the text, it's the different way that the fonts work with each other that bring out the design, the style of that company. They've also, again, they've used up and around their stall. Don't be afraid to do that. Yes, you're given a 6-foot table. And we sort of sit there and go, okay, we've got to try and get this onto a 6-foot table, but you have all the air above that table that you can use as well. Friends of mine have used literally like poles, just simple plumbing poles really, and made contraptions to clip to the tables that go up and around so they can hang things around the tables. If you look, bringing that eye above the table so that it can then look down works really, really well. Back to this one again, bringing that eye above so then it can work down works well. Outdoor events, using the entire tent, using the roof of the tent as well to be able to, again, bring the eye up to bring it down into your products. People tend to look up when they're around. I don't know if you've noticed, people tend to walk around, especially in fairs like this, because they want to see everything out there. They want to see everything that's going on. So they will walk around a little bit like meerkats most of the time. and then something will catch their eye, and then they'll look down. So use this space that you have above the 6 foot that you've been given to be able to accentuate your products as best as you possibly can. Even if your products are quite small, put signage above you. You know, it doesn't have to be a product, it doesn't have to be cards, it doesn't have to be handmade flags, it doesn't have to be anything that's directly linked to your product. It could just be branded bunting. But anything to bring people in where they're looking up and they're looking out and they see you and they go, oh, and then look down. And that's what you want to achieve. In order to achieve that in the best way, you've got to think about how your branding works with your products and how it talks about your products in the best possible way. Okay. I will rattle on about this a million times over. Okay. I am going to apologize now. Branding is so important. Your branding is so important. If you look at the psychology of purchasing, if you look at the psychology of retail, yes, you're a handmade business. Yes, it's a hobby that you're trying to become profitable in, or you're trying to grow to I don't know, beat someone on the high street or get a shop or whatever it is your goal is. And you're starting small and you're like, yeah, but you know, it's my cottage industry. I understand that. But making sure that your branding now reflects the business you want later is so important. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Your branding will evolve throughout the years. It will get better throughout the years as you start to understand your product, as you start to understand your customer base, your pricing. Your branding will move along with that. But keeping your branding in a niche style that literally says, I'm handmade, will keep your business at a kitchen size. It won't progress your business to a profitable retail business. We're in retail. We make stuff, yes, but we're there to sell it, to make money. We are in retail. So looking at those retail aspects and thinking about those retail aspects are so important. And it's something that you'll hear me bleat on about a lot, but branding and how it looks across all mediums is so important to think about. So if you look quick at this, I'll show you this. I love this. So as you can see here, only as this designer looked at that aspect above her 6 foot table, but she's also looked at her design of her logo to make sure that it works with all mediums. You have so many places that you can put your logo, your branding, your design. You can use A-boards. A-boards are brilliant because you can put them just a little bit out from your stall, especially if you're in an outdoor fair. Put them a little bit out from your stall. You're then creating a direct sort of thing that someone's going to have to walk around. If they need to walk around it, they're going to look at you. You're dragging them back to your stand. There's so many different ways that you can drag that attention. This one's brilliant. I found this one on Etsy, and it's a brilliant way of, again, putting your logo out so people are getting that brand recognition, but also making your logo functional. So you've got your QR code so people can go directly to your website. You've got your Instagram QR code as well, so they can go and follow you online. Business cards are still used, but they are becoming a little bit outdated. People don't want to have a stack of business cards that they're never going to look at, but they will follow you on Instagram. So you can say, oh, I've got a business card there. Or if you just get out your camera, you can follow me on Instagram, and you're getting them to engage with you. But looking at your branding, when you're looking at your branding, when you're thinking of your signage, don't just think about what it looks like on your product. Don't just think about how it looks on your screen or on your Facebook page. Think about how it's going to look on your packaging, stickers, whether it's going to be on business cards, whether you can use it as paper to wrap your products with, whether it's going to be on your boxes, thank you cards. There's so many places. Stamps. I do this with my bags and my boxes. I actually stamp my logo onto it. It's a million times cheaper, and the stamp that I've got is vegan ink, so I know that I'm still sticking with my sustainable vision as well. you can look at different ways to place your logo or your branding so that people are really drawn in to what you are doing. And don't get me wrong, it's not going to be perfect first time. All right, it is not going to be perfect first time. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to figure out what works, what doesn't work. You're going to figure out whether it's something you like or whether it's a color you like. I know my first 3 designs for my Peony and Pine logo, I hated. I sold products with them, but I got so much resistance selling products. When I finally got the logo I wanted, a logo I loved, it was amazing. And just to show you a little bit about me and my knowledge, what I know, what I'm doing, let me show you this. So I've shown you this image already. This is when me and my daughter first started going out to markets. I hated the boxes. I wasn't overly keen on my design. I was still trying to figure out where I sat, where my branding sat in all of this. We actually went from having a stall to having a store. And as you can see, I'm starting to get comfortable with my design. I'm starting to get comfortable with my logo, my colours. I wanted to have plain colours. That was something I wanted to keep. There's actually, it's quite difficult to be simple. It's more difficult to be simple than it is to be elaborate when it comes to branding and design. As you can see, this stall actually just did not work for me. My daughter designed it in that way. And then when she went back to college, I redesigned it. But I got a flow. As you can see, even in my stand, there's different levels. Some things are stacked higher. I made sure that there's all different things for people to look at, so they want to come in. So there's that drag into the actual stall, and gave them a clear space to walk around, so that they didn't feel that they were intruding or in my way when they came in, because it was such a small space. And I was so much in love with this space. It was unreal. It took me a week to put this together. And it was a labor of love because I was exhausted by the end of the week, but opening day was absolutely fantastic. I changed out my stands regularly. So if you have a place where you have a certain fair that you go to regularly, change your displays. Even if you just put something in a different place, it makes it feel fresh and new, and it gives people an opportunity to see something they might not have seen before. So rotate them round. I used to do mine seasonally, so summer, winter, autumn, spring, to make sure that there was a fresh look for every season to bring people in. And that then led to me. This was my stand at Birmingham when I went to the autumn fair. I didn't go to spring fair. I went to the autumn fair. I'm losing my headphones now. Went to autumn fair, and I did sales directly into businesses. So this wasn't a consumer affair. This is why there's not that much out. I'm not going to zoom in too much because I have no makeup on. This was like after hours of painting and setting this up. But you can see, again, there's still those different height levels. There's different things to look at. There's different aspects to look at. And this is what you're aiming for. You're aiming for intrigue. You're aiming for people to come into your business and see all the different aspects of your products. Whilst they're there. I've had a little notification on the stream. There's a message somewhere. Let me have a look. Make sure I'm not missing anyone's questions or anything like that. There's a message. Bear with me. But yes, I will always, if I don't message you on the stream, I will always answer it afterwards. So I will just drop a note in when it's finished. Now, that's a lot of information in a very short amount of time. I understand that completely, but I wanted to go through as much as I possibly could to make sure that you guys are thinking of every single bit of your signage for your stalls in the coming year. You know, you've got about 6 weeks until it starts to start again. You know, we've got no real fairs, no real markets in January. It's quite a quiet month in January. This is a really good time to sort of sit, reflect, play with your store designs. I used to hate it this time of year because it never had a dining table, because I'd spend most of the time on the dining table realigning my design, my stall, how I wanted things to look, taking pictures of it, moving things around to see where the focus came in, and play with it. You know, have fun with it. Get it to work for you. Get your husband to walk past it and say, "What's the first thing you see?" They will love and hate you for that, but you know, get your wife to do it, get your kids to do it. What's the first thing you see? What do you like about the store? What do you not like about the store? If you've got an absolutely brutal best friend, they're great because you can send a picture to them and say, "What do you think of this?" And they will tell you honestly, but only the brutal ones. Don't go to the nice ones because they'll just tell you it looks great. You need to go to the one that tells you look fat in that dress. They're the ones that you need to speak to and ask them honestly their opinion. You know, people will, if you ask them for their opinion, there are people in your lives that want to help you. If you don't feel comfortable asking your friends and family, send a picture to me. I'll tell you the truth. I'm that person. I will do it in a nice way, and if you're close enough, I'll send you a packet of biscuits too. But it's really good to get feedback. It's really good to ask that and play with it. Play with your designs until you're 100% comfortable. Then take a picture, print it off, put it on top of your box, ready to go to market, because then you know what your design is going to look like. Right, I'm going to see if I can get hold of these comments, because I don't want to miss anyone out. Imperfect is the new perfect. Absolutely, Rach. It is absolutely imperfect is the new perfect. Give it a go. Try it out a couple of times. Honestly, if you guys could see my first, in fact, I might even put them in the comments. My first candle designs, then in contrast, my candle designs that I did late last year. I've actually closed down Peony and Pine now to focus on training, but from beginning to end, there was such a difference, and it showed as well, because at the beginning, I was constantly getting questions about price. I was constantly getting questions from people about, you know, quality and everything like that. By the end, I had pop-up stalls in John Lewis and was selling worldwide. So, you know, when you get it right, you know. When it works, you know. And it's about trial and error. What's the worst that can happen? Someone goes, "I don't like your design." Okay, neither do I. I'm working on it. If you look at the first ever Apple logo, I don't know if everyone's got an iPhone, but the first ever Apple logo compared to the Apple logo now, first one was shocking. It was like a Renaissance artist drawing. It was absolutely awful compared to the nice simple Apple they've got now. The first Coca-Cola design was really over the top compared to how sleek and simple it is now. Every brand goes through progression, so you just give it a go for it. I hope this session has helped. Any questions that you have, pop them underneath. If you're on YouTube, give us a subscribe. If you are on Facebook, feel free to share this out to your friends. If you are on the private community, part of the membership club, hey guys, feel free to drop me a message if you have any questions. If you want me to review your stalls, send that over. I have a few years of experience in this, and hopefully I'll be able to give you a hand. In the meantime, guys, have a great night. It's been amazing being back. Expect to see me every week. But I am going to go. I'm going to go and take my medicine, sit on the sofa now, and plan next week's live chat. So, all right, guys, have a lovely night. Take care. Bye.